Chicken. Today we're going to make Tuscan chicken pasta. Doesn't that look yummy? It's definitely something that's going to fill you up. First off, we need pasta, a pot of water, a little salt, and I've got d'Italia noodles, the little guys. What's left from me making minestrone soup. So we'll get that going now. In a bowl, we're going to make a rub. A little bit of salt. Teaspoon actually. Teaspoon of garlic powder. Teaspoon of paprika. And a teaspoon of pepper. I want to mix that all around. And this is going to be a rub for the chicken. There, that looks good. Now, I brought a baking sheet out because we need room to do stuff. There's our 2 chicken breasts. And maybe a little less than a tablespoon of olive oil on each one. Now we have to rub the breasts and get all that oil in. You want to make sure you cover everything because we're going to try and coat everything. So just give her a nice rub. There doesn't have to be a lot on it. I mean, who wants all that oil? Just enough to help the spices stick to the chicken. So here's our spice mix. And of course I thought, I'll just sprinkle a little bit on. If I tried doing that, I'd probably run out of spice. And it's a lot easier to sprinkle it on with your hands. I don't want it too thick. So we'll try and just put a little bit on here and there. You see how well that's adhering to the chicken. Works out well. That's kind of fun. You want to get into every little nook and cranny. That's looking pretty good. We pretty well got it covered. We'll get the back end there. I think that looks good. And we used up most of our rub, not all of it. Our water's boiling. In goes our noodles. You could also use rigatoni noodles, which is actually what the recipe called for, or even penne if you had to. So here's a pack of sun-dried tomatoes. Okay, interesting. I thought about just doing them in the oven, but we've taken the lid off them. They're a nice little package. There's not a whole lot there, but there's enough. Now, the instructions said to warm them up in warm water so that they become more pliant, because apparently they're really tough if you don't do this. So we'll put them in hot water for a little bit, maybe 5 minutes or so, because we got other stuff to do. So here's our frying pan, tablespoon-ish of olive oil, or any other oil you want to use. I figured it's Tuscan chicken, so the olive oil, the Italian thing. And here's our chicken. So we've got medium-high heat, and there's our breast going in. And about 3 minutes on each side. Now this is not going to fully cook them. The idea is we just want to sear it as best we can. Both sides are done. Now I'm going to attempt very feebly to get the sides done. And of course I just keep fighting, just keep fighting. Let's try the other side. Maybe that'll work. It's not working much better. There. Now we'll try the next one to see if I can get the other breast working. Well, that didn't work out so good. It kept flopping over too. So I pretty well just stood there for a minute or so to let it sear. Okay, there's our chicken. Now, this is an oven-safe frying pan. That you need one of those, because this is end up going in the oven. So they look good. We're going to get them in the oven. And now back to our tomatoes. They've been soaking while we were cooking the chicken, so they've had about 5 minutes. They seem nice and pliable, like, maybe slightly tougher than a regular tomato, but I don't think so. Well, now we got to chop it up into bite-sized pieces because you do. Well, there we go. We'll put that aside till we need it. Now next up are our cherry tomatoes. You know, I probably should have maybe gotten that much again. And we're just going to quarter them, chop them up into bite-sized pieces. So next time I know, don't be shy with the tomatoes. But they're nice and colorful, aren't they? Go back to our sheet. Our chicken's been in the oven. It's ready to come out. Ow, ow, ow. I got an oven mitt on my other hand holding the frying pan. We take our 2 chickens out. I'll put that back on the stove. Just remember that the handle's hot when you go to move the frying pan again. Do we take the chicken because we're not quite ready? It's got to cool down a bit, and we're going to tin it with some tin foil. Here's our noodles. Nice and cooked. Rinse them, put them back in the pot till we need them. That's towards the end of our dish. Back to our frying pan. Watch it, the handle's hot. In goes some butter. About that much. What's that, about 3 tablespoons? So once it's mostly melted, I throw in a good cup to a cup and a half of finely chopped onions. Or you can make them rough if you want. I guess it doesn't really matter. And we're going to saute them for a little bit, let all that butter get absorbed into the onion. That looks good. Look at it all bubbly. Oh, it smells good. Now here's our sun-dried tomatoes. And we're going to combine that and let that cook for a bit. One teaspoon of minced garlic. Give that a little mix in. Okay, looks good. Now we're going to add 2 tablespoons-ish of tomato paste. Now I got to figure out what to do with the rest of the tomato paste. They should actually sell tomato paste in 1 or 2 tablespoon packets and put them all together. So that's a teaspoon of paprika, a good teaspoon of oregano, good teaspoon of garlic powder, because there's not enough garlic in this, teaspoon of salt, and of course, teaspoon-ish of pepper, to your taste, of course. Then we're going to mix all this around. You can see it's getting all steamy and ready to rock and roll, and that's good. Now I've taken the mixture off the element because I've got to add some cream. So this is going to end up being a cup and a half of cream and a cup and a half of milk. So I guess if you've got half and half, you could put 3 cups of the half and half in. But I had both. So in we go, and I didn't want it curdling because you got to do it kind of slow. So I've got most of the mixture in the frying pan. There's another cup. I figure the temperature's low enough I shouldn't have to worry about it curdling, which I don't. And it'll start coming back up to temperature. Here's our last cup. So that's 3 cups total. And now it's nice and soupy again. It will thicken up. Give it a nice gentle stir. In go our tomatoes now. See what I mean about having more? Oh, and spinach. Rinsed it and put about that much in. It was the end of a package. I don't know how much that would be uncooked. Probably maybe 2.5 cups I had there. You can put more in if you want. And the last one is, this is a cup-ish of grated Parmesan. A very important step. Of course you need the cheese. There, so that's helped thicken it up a bit. Our noodles go in next. And now we're going to incorporate it all. That's starting to come together pretty good. Our last move is to get to that chicken, so we take the tin foil off and chop it up into bite-sized pieces, or you can put it into however you want. You want big chunks, go ahead. If you want to shred it, go ahead. I just wanted the little chunks. And into our mix this goes. And we are just about done. My pan's just about full. Oh, mix, 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 mix. And I think we've got it. That looks like a hell of a dish. I think we need a bowl. Now that's the picture that I started with. Looks pretty close, I think, between mine and theirs. Maybe the lighting's a little different, but I think that looks pretty good. Into a bowl we go. And how's that for a good dinner? Yummy. This recipe's definitely a winner. Hey, another great recipe. I hope you'll give it a try. Leave me a comment below, one way or the other. Listen, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the bell, because that'll tell you the next time I upload a video. Feel free to share this and any of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by and watching. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.